A long time ago, I was playing around with my phone. Those of you that know, I like tech. I'm not as tech advanced as Yossi Brodsky. I like tech. I like playing around with it. It's cool. I don't remember what it was. This goes back many, many years ago. And it was a certain program with some kind of customization that I was trying to work on with my phone. And I was following the instructions in that. And one of the steps said, be careful, make sure like you're doing this step 100% properly and this and that. Because if you do this step wrong, you'll brick your phone. Those of you that are slightly tech involved, you know what it means to brick a phone. You guys know what it means to brick a phone? Yeah. It turns your phone just into a piece of junk metal. It just freezes it, irreparable, nothing you can do about it. It turns your phone into a brick. Goodbye. It messes up the whole operating system, and it's a piece of garbage. And when I saw that, I backed off. Oh, if I mess up, I'm going to ruin my whole phone. Forget it. I don't even remember what I was trying to customize. I really don't. But whatever it was worth my time and effort. I was spending time and effort on it. And it was obviously something attractive to me that I was trying to do. I literally do not remember what it was. I actually think now I remember what it was. I wanted to be able to, I think, write things directly on my home screen, like as reminders for myself. You just turn it on and just jot something down, and it's on there as if I have a pad. That's what it was. And there was a program, you were able to do it, but you literally had to play around with the phone's operating system. And when it said that, whoa. We're familiar with websites, perhaps. Usually if you put in a website and you spell it wrong, very often you'll be redirected to the right site anyway. Sometimes you'll be directed, you'll go to a fake site representing the real site. Email addresses, you mess up a dot, you mess up one letter. Passwords, caps, not caps. One little tiny difference will be success or failure. I'm going to share a story with you, and then hopefully a lesson. Some of you heard the story from me before. This took place in the times of the Gemara. There was a halacha that a woman whose husband died, she's able to get the money for her ksuba from the inheritors. The sons inherit the father, and she wants to collect ksuba, especially if she was a second wife and these sons inherit. Anyway, she wants to collect the ksuba. There's a halacha that she would have to swear to get her money. She would have to swear that during my husband's lifetime, he didn't already pay me. He didn't give me any money yet. He didn't buy me a 10th anniversary, who knows what, diamond necklace, and deduct that from my future ksuba. My ksuba is supposed to be paid in full and balance after he died or after divorce. And she has to swear to that point, because when you take money from orphans, from Yisomim, we have a lot of safeguards in place to make sure no one's taking advantage of these kids. And the Gemara says we don't do that anymore because of a story. We don't make women swear. What was the story? There was a wealthy man who was traveling through a town, and it was a drought. Food was scarce, rain was non-existent. And he's traveling through this town, and he has to do business overseas, and he's a wealthy guy, and he hears around in this town, it's like a port city, and he wants to get on a boat and leave, but he doesn't want to take his money with him on the boat. There's pirates and accidents could happen. So he hears around, is there any person here I could leave my money with? He had a few gold coins. It was literally like a fortune. Is there anybody really honest in town? And people pointed him to a certain almana, a certain woman, a very righteous woman, a good woman. No problems with her. You could give your money to her. You'll never have any issue. So he comes up to her, gives her the money. Anyway, he goes ahead and he gives her the money. And he says, but please put it in the place where you keep your most valuable things. and I'll be back for it. I'm going on business for a long time, perhaps a year or so. Please, I'll be back for it. Put it where you keep your most valuable things. Fine. She goes and she puts it in the cupboard. At that point in time, the most valuable thing she had in her house was food. Flour. And she puts the coins up in her cabinet. The guy comes back a year later, and he asks for his gold coins. She goes, she fetches the coins, she gives them to him, and he says, hey, it's missing one coin. I gave you whatever it is, 20 coins, there's only 19. And he looked at her suspiciously. You think I took it? You think I would touch it? You think I would benefit from your money? I swear to Hashem by the life of my kids that I didn't touch and benefit from your money. I never take money from anybody. Okay? He had no way to prove anything. He left. Shortly thereafter, each one of her children died. Gemara says, why did this happen? Gemara says, because she did have that last coin. What happened to it was it fell into the bowl where she kept her flour. And what happened to it was every Erev Shabbos, the custom in Bnei Yisrael was women would bake challah for Shabbos, and they would bake an extra bulkala, a little extra challah roll for poor people. People used to come around in the communities to ask for food for Shabbos. And this was the custom. Women would bake on Erev Shabbos and give fresh baked challahs for the poor people. And she did that. And a coin made it into the challah roll that she gave to a poor person. I'm sure it made his day. He was certainly very excited. So the Gemara says, but she swore that she didn't take it. And she swore that she didn't benefit from it. She didn't. Bottom line is she didn't do anything wrong. And the Gemara says, no. She swore that she didn't benefit from it. And she did. Because when that coin fell into the flour, she saved herself that tiny drop of flour. A half a teaspoon of flour that the coin took up the space in the little challah bulkala that she made. She saved herself a half a teaspoon of flour, and she swore that she did not get any benefit. And she swore to Hashem by the life of her children, and they all died. This is an extremely difficult story to swallow. It clearly is saying how dangerous it is to swear, even when you're trying to do it truthfully. She meant it. She was a good, honest person. She didn't mean anything wrong. For some very strange reason, swearing is like crazy, nuclear. It's what's pshat? And the Even Ezra says that people take it lightly. People walk around on many times a day. He even says humorously a bit. It became their manner of speech. People talk, they say they say Baruch Hashem, they say I swear to God, I swear to God. So much so that if you would confront a person and ask him, why did you just swear that it's cold outside? He'd say, what? I didn't swear. I swear I didn't swear. Even Ezra writes that. People will swear that they didn't swear. And both of them were false. The Gemara tells us that when Hashem said this commandment, the third commandment of the Sefer Deibos, the entire world shook, and all of the nations of the world understood the severity of swearing. It's unbelievable. You have some guy go into any court anywhere in the world, and if he says something under oath, wow, perjury. You say something under oath and you lied, behind bars, they'll kill you, they'll whip you out of different countries, they'll do different things. But whoa, I don't get it. If the guy says, I am telling you the absolute, complete, total truth, and he lies, we're not going to punish him so severely. But if he says, I take an oath, boom. Oath is just another word. It's a 4-letter word without a U. Come on. What's the problem with oath? What's the problem with saying, I swear? The truth is, it doesn't really make sense. But the entire universe treats swearing and an oath as something very serious. And I want to share the explanation. Ibn Ezra says that there's got to be something in your life that's absolute. Something in your life that if you err on that, you make a mistake on that, you're wrong in that, you brick yourself. Game over. You're detached from reality. If God's name is not absolute scary for you, you are so detached from reality, you're basically bricked. You're done. You can't take God's name seriously. There are nutcases that walk the planet of the earth. I don't even know how they could present themselves, believing in alternate truths. My religion is true, and your religion is true, and the world came from monkeys, and the world came from God, and this is true, and that's true, and we call those people nutcases. That means that they have no truth. Yisro is the one that's given credit for the big name on the building of this week's Parsha. Probably costs a lot of money. I don't know. If you had to donate a Parsha, the actual Sefer Torah, get your name up there, the whatever edition of the Chumash and the whatever edition of our school is. Can you imagine the Yisro edition of Matan Torah? You need to get a lot of credit for that, no? Yisro's Parsha. It's his Parsha. Matan Torah. Because he's a person that when he discovered the truth, he didn't fib. He valued it with the utmost, absolute, complete dedication. If that's the true God, come what may, I'm joining. I'm going to leave my house. He had huge real estate. He was an authority, a leader of his people. He was popular. He was strong. And he had a whole lifetime behind him that pretty much he had to totally erase and reverse and admit his mistake. That's hard. I know about you guys, but if you ever are in a meaningful argument with somebody and then you have to admit, oops, I'm mistaken, it's hard. Can you imagine doing that about your entire lifetime? But he's given credit because once he discovered MS, I'm going to give up everything in the world because that is the ultimate truth. In English, there's a word for it. And interestingly, it's translated into Yiddish almost the exact same way. Sometimes people call me up for a shidduch information, and perhaps the greatest compliment that I can say about somebody is that he is earnest. In Yiddish, it's called ernst. Ernst means he's dedicated to the truth. He takes the truth seriously. Oh, yes, I believe in Zman Kriya Shema, but for the next few weeks, I'm not going to... Well, if you believe there's something called Zman Kriya Shema, I'm waking up for Kriya Shema. You know why? Because that's the truth. That's the reality of the world. God says so. You disconnect from God, you're bricked. You're dead. Maybe you're not going to drop dead on the spot, but it's going to hit you at some point. You're bricked. Don't disconnect from reality. Disconnecting from reality is like we say in Rosh Hashanah davening. It's like a dream. Gone. So this is not a hashkafa class. But generally we like to say, my father used to meet all these not religious Jews, but they're traditional Jews and sure, I'm traditional, I keep the 10 Commandments. They don't realize that Shabbos is one of the 10 Commandments very often. But I think for us, Baruch Hashem, we understand that Shabbos is one of the 10 Commandments, and regardless, all 630 mitzvahs are the same. But I think this is a mitzvah that a lot of people, I'm not saying this, Evan Ezra writes this, Chai Adam writes this, all the places can write this. It's a mitzvah that very sadly, very religious seeming people, yarmulke and payas and kosher and filters on the phones and keeping Shabbos and you name it, and they're transgressing the third commandment. Swearing falsely or swearing for no reason. When you swear for something that's no reason, you're not taking God's name seriously. The connection between swearing and God's name is, when you say, I swear, you're saying, this is the truest thing that I can believe in. I'm not lying. I'm not making a mistake. I'm not making an error. I'm being very accurate. This is as truthful as truth gets. And if that's a lie by you, then that means you don't have truth at all. That's why swearing falsely and mentioning Hashem's name in vain are the same thing. Do you lack an appreciation for reality? And even though it became part of the language 700 years ago, says the Ibn Ezra, it doesn't change the fact that he says this is one thing that if even all of Klal Yisrael kept all of the other mitzvahs, but they have a loose tongue with this, it's enough to continue the gullus, continue and continue and continue. There's a lot to say. We've been speaking about silence, shtika, a lot. And we've been talking about it after davening every day for 2 minutes. But this is just one more factor of how advisable it is to watch our mouths. It's just better to be quiet. And certainly if you're going to open your mouth, it should be with the things that are the Higisa Bayim Balayla, the things that give you Arichas Yamin. Have a wonderful Shabbos.